Good afternoon, everyone. We will start with second session of today by Dr. Mahesh TS on the topic Role of Information Technology in Documentation of Ayurvedic Practices. And I now call upon Dr. Divya to introduce our guest speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Divya Krishna Rathod from Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Hubballi. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our guest lecturer, Dr. Mahesh sir, on this special occasion. So, getting into the introduction, sir's graduation in BMS was from Mysore University of STM College of Ayurveda, Hassan, and did his MD in Dravyamurta in Ayurveda from ALN Rao Ayurvedic Medical College, Koppam, and has earned PhD from Rajasthan Ayurveda University, Jodhpur in 2012. Sir has served as research assistant in Aurora Ravi Memorial Ayurvedic Research Center, Koppam. Sir served as lecturer and physician at Alva's Medical College and has been recognized as PG Guide for MD students in Dravyaguna by RGHS Bangalore. And Sir has contributed a lot in Ayurveda in the form of research articles and research papers. Presently, Sir is serving as professor and HOD of Department of Dravyaguna at Prasanna Ayurvedic Medical College, Beltandi. I heartily welcome you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir, you can start the session.
Okay. So thank you very much for the... shall I share the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for the opportunity that they have given me to present myself in the seminar known as Jyeshtha. And just a sec, I just share the screen. And my topic would be role of information technology for in the documentation of various Ayurvedic and folklore practices. Share the application. So before we can start out with the actual so yeah, before we can start out, is the screen seen? Can you see the screen, the PPT?
No, sir.
Okay, just a sec. What's happening? Change layout. Long tab video or window. I don't know why this is not coming. PPT is not coming this side. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, now it's fine. Hello. Yeah, now it's fine. I hope.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at the outset, as I've described, I would like to extend my thanks to the organizers of this Jyeshtha 2020, organized again by Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya and Hospital, Hubli, and the HOD of Dravyamurta Department, Dr. Manjunath Naik, for inviting me to present this. And it's a great pleasure to share the knowledge that I possess regarding the different aspects that I have done in the uh, concept building and improvisation of information technology in documentation of Ayurveda practices. So, before we go into it, I think this is the age of information technology, what we have. So, what exactly that we are doing in information technology is we collect different things from different places. We organize them, make it into a well presentable forms, and then also preserve it in a most suitable form so that it can be given to the next generation. In other words, we are helping the next generation to continue with the development and progress of every system, not only our medicinal or medical systems or Ayurveda, but every system for that matter. So when we speak of this aspect, what is basically what we need to understand is there are Ayurveda is not just a medicinal science, it is a life science. We all know that. We are all belonging to the same faculty, I believe. So life science doesn't mean just give something and treat a people. It means something that has gone into our culture, something that has come into this tradition. Basically, Ayurvedic developed initially as medical science, of course, but it became so imbibed into the culture and tradition of our country that it traversed into the lifestyle of the people, and we just took that as a routine. For example, every minute part of our lifestyle, say right from getting up from the bed to the end of the day, or rather night, everything is documented in a very precise manner right from the ages, may it be the oldest of the books or literatures, or even today. We do document certain things. But as we come into the next years or the medieval ages, we had political upheavals over this country. And because of these political upheavals, there were traversing into our culture and traditions. There were drastic changes because of invasions. And these drastic changes not only changed the culture and tradition, but also the civilization, the thoughts, and more important, they were contributing to the development of this science. So we can see the development of every part of this science in medieval period. So wherein each system, including Ayurveda, underwent renaissance of changes. It was just a change that was happening. But in this event, there were destructions of cities, libraries, knowledge also. So as a result, we lost many literatures, we lost many developed conditions, and the division of these knowledge into a medical uh, treatment schedules and etc. became one which was practiced by the Vaidyas or practitioners of Ayurveda. But along with that, as I've told, it had already traversed into the culture and traditions of our country. The people had basic knowledge of these practices. Basic knowledge in the sense, people knew what is to be done for small and minor ailments in a very quicker manner. And the effect they had already seen in the past was just passed on to the next generations by orally. And these, which became very prominent, and they started to become as folklore practices. So these folklore practices, you have lots of them. So as per the CCRA's report, which was published in the year 2000, 2000. So accordingly, as I've put in the thing, 400 ethnic groups are there in India. So imagine each group have their own culture, have their own tradition, and each group have their own practices, that is folklore practices also. So the amount of these folklore knowledge is so huge when compared to whatever we know within our system. And the same report tells that there are around 20,000 medicinal plant species in India, out of which 7,500 are used by traditional practitioners and also the folklore practitioners. Much more, in fact, 3.5 times more than what Ayurveda has, 2,000 plants. Siddha comes down to 1,300, Unani 1,000, homeopathy 800, modern 200, and folklore again, another set of them, which are purely who don't have any basic knowledge of Ayurveda. They also practice with 4,500 herbs, double than Ayurveda. So you can imagine the amount of knowledge that is preserved in the form of folklore practices and Ayurveda practices. So coming to the next part, why do we need to produce a documentation? What is the importance of having a documentation? So as we have already noted, there are so much of medicinal plants in the use that it's highly impossible for any one person to remember everything. So why do we need to remember? Because we need to use it in different categories, different places, for treating different conditions, and also even improve the immune systems, etc. So it is very important that we document all these. So as a result, these provide, so we need to once a documentation is done, it provides specifications of materials. It becomes a standard literature or knowledge which can give a particular specification of the material, what we are going to use. It also gives the different information regarding that material, or rather every material that is being documented, and the presence of this information. What is the necessary of this information is we can standardize that, we can take it to the next generation, and the next generation need not do the same homework of searching and compiling these informations. then they found that is how they found the basis of improvement. So where once you have a particular basis, then you can always, there will be a, it becomes the foundation of the next stage of improvement. So wherein it can also sustain and develop intellectual properties. So there are, as I've told, there are 4,500 medicinal plants used by folklore practitioners, 7,000 and odd practiced by traditional practitioners. So where they are Ayurvedic Vaidyas, but not with the formal education. So imagine the total number of plants that is present for as a alternatives to different ailments. So these are, most of them are having, or rather unknown to many of the people. They are only known to those folklore practitioners or traditional practitioners who have developed right from the ages, from their ancestors, who have got it from their ancestors. But now, because of various conditions, financial conditions and illiteracy, and unable to keep it in a very presentable form, these intellectual knowledge or this knowledge is being lost over and over. So this can be prevented and sustained for the development of intellectual properties, property rights, for those who are practicing and also for those who are about to practice the same. Then ensure better quality and success in formulations and treatment. Very important that we can standardize based on these documentations. And lastly, the compliance for legal and accreditation purpose. Now, there are various issues when you bring out a product into this market. In that, one part is you get to have, or you need to have license to manufacture and market it. So wherein it needs accreditation from a particular organization, from government, etc., such that it can be brought into the market. Now, for these accreditations, naturally, you need to produce different basis as how and why this particular formulation was resulted or was created. And that is where the documentations play an important role. They help you to give you the necessary data so that you can present it to the legal and related people who are giving this license and accreditation, such that it gets its due, so that you can market it. So what are the methods of documentation? So methods of documentation will be a field survey, which is again depends on what topic you are going to be dealing with. So like folklore healers, you can survey the different folklore healers, then document it. Then you can also make folklore medicinal plants that can be surveyed, and along with that you can document it. So this folklore survey or field survey is important to mark the presence of and uses of different plants that is being done. Now, the second part, the literary research survey, which you go into different digital and non-digital format literatures, and you compare with the survey, field survey, what you have done, the data what you have obtained from the field survey, and then you prepare this data set. A data set is a set of documents which gives you different data and which is made into a format or which is presented in a format. So all the data, it just appears in a haphazard manner. So it has to be presented in a most understandable way, so that when you give it to the people who are in need of that, it is easily understood by them. So solid, there are two types of data sets. One is the digital and the other one is a physical format, or this solid data sets. So where you have like a field, a diary, or things like that. So where you prepare that, then you have formats which you need to fill, etc., etc. The next one is the digitalizing of these data sets. This is the where IT plays a very important role. So all data sets, physical data sets, you mean it goes on and it may just disintegrate at some point of time. So where digitalizing not only preserves the data sets for longer duration of time, but also it will decrease the space that is being used. But of course, it needs a good amount of knowledge in IT or information technology. So what is the main role of this information technology is you have different designs where the data sets can be used. So mainly it comes under the fourth number what is being mentioned, knowledge bank solutions. Other than that, you can have delivery systems and healthcare administration systems, design and development of healthcare products. So where they like you have platforms that is being done where it can be used for online consultation and also uh, keeping up the records of hospital and colleges, etc., etc., where IT again plays an important role in management of those data. Now, even they are important from these data sets also very important from different point of view also, like the incidents get you can get the amount of relief a particular treatment can give. You can also understand the various uses of the medicine, one formulation in different conditions, etc. Healthcare administration, now it's purely on administration side, where the different administrative policies, etc., can be seen, which is not a much more, which is not a very describable in this point of time. Delivery systems, like again, that is logistics. What is being considered, where the things are being seen, where the different what do you say various logistics, what you have and what is to be recharged, etc., etc. So different aspects can be dealt with information technology, but the most important one is knowledge bank solutions. So I'll just take you back to the thing. So earlier one. So here we have the fourth, digitalizing the obtained data sets. So the digitalizing of obtained data sets includes all the compilation of the different surveys that we do, the different aspects that we get from the survey, different knowledge that you get from the survey, and after being processed with the literary research and the solid data sets, what we do, and next is we make it into the knowledge bank solutions. Now what is a knowledge bank solution? Knowledge bank refers to knowledge, of course, all information what we have, every point, every word of information is a part of a knowledge. And bank is where you have pulled out everything into this one. Everywhere, whatever you get is pulled into it. And then what solutions we give is how we process this pooled knowledge. So this pooled knowledge is processed into different aspects like as per the need of the user. If I am a person coming from an industry and I need to know certain medicinal plant, regarding the different uses of medicinal plant, or regarding the dose of medicinal plant, regarding how to analyze this particular quality of medicinal plant, etc., can be segregated and presented as per the need of the user. So this is where digitalization of data sets take place, where again, when you prepare a knowledge bank solution, it will be in a particular format which takes the different compiled data or the information that you have got, and then it, in a particular format as per the need of the user, it can be presented. So what does this happen? What is the main benefit is, it will help the user to reduce the time duration, that is more important nowadays, so that for the search of different information, such that he can, or he or she can just concentrate on other research activities. So again, healthcare products, as we have already told, apps for doctors and apps for patients. So main healthcare product, like monitoring of health status of patient, then delivering patient care effectively, reducing risk of wrong diagnosis, etc. Because along with that, it also gives a insight to the physician as which better option he can use for the particular condition, particular disease condition. So there are analytics. They are known as analytics in this app. So they can understand what better can be placed and what better way the patients can be managed. Now, apps for patients are again different, like management of appointments of doctors with doctors and health tips, whatever, like how you have this Arogya Setu, the present one which government of India has already launched. So these are different aspects. Now in that, both sides you have like apps for doctors and apps for patients. So all can be clubbed, as in case of Arogya Setu, or can be just an app like how we have the Apple phones, iPhones, they have an inbuilt app on the cardiac status to tell the cardiac status. So these are different apps which are present for the patients. Now, in case of health administration system, there are different aspects for administration. So as I've already put up in the slide, clinical management system, where most of the college institutions and hospitals have right now, hospital management system, clinical lab management system, etc. So these, what is the use for Ayurveda from this? Again, this is not only for modern system, it can be imbibed into the Ayurvedic system. Most of the institutions have already done that. So what they do is, it collects the data. Now this data again becomes the source of knowledge bank solution. So where the analytics give a different aspect as how many patients are cured by Ayurvedic treatment, a particular type of treatment. You can just make an analysis and understand, so that it can be passed on to the next set of people much easily. They need not work on the same thing to understand the use of a particular treatment. Then you have drugstore management, purely on business side, healthcare management, and institution and college management. These are different management softwares which are available now in the market. So next is the delivery systems. As I've told, this mostly deals with the logistics of different aspects. So logistics, like where you have the raw materials, where you have the different aspects like finished products, and what is the distance, etc., how it is to be covered, and when the raw materials can get emptied, and which is to be so it is like management of certain aspects which are needed by an industry, which are needed by a business establishment, like drug management places or pharmacies, and also the cultivations. Now, where this cultivation is present, which area it is more, so that the purchaser, etc., the business activity can go on. So information for business activity is where they get information regarding the availabilities and etc. Then it also gives the idea of prices for raw materials and finished products. Now, there is a app known as e-Charak, which is again Government of India's initiative. E-Charak is a it's a app on, and it's also present on the web, where it gives the prices of different raw materials that is needed by the industry. Especially they deal mostly on medicinal plants, because it is a app that is coming under the National Medicinal Plant Board. So wherein they give out the prices, and they also serve as a platform for those who are cultivating these medicinal plants, and and they are ready for harvesting or sale. Now, even the purchaser, that is the industry, also will be logging into it, and they will also be given uh, adequate amount of information regarding the availability, location, etc. Now, such platforms, again, they are just like a marketplace. So there will be one seller and a buyer, and this is possible with a very good information technology system or a software that is being. So wherein the understanding of where the more amount of a particular raw material can be obtained, or an information about that can be obtained by the industry, as well as the who needs the most can also be understood by the cultivator rather. So this different types of delivery systems can be obtained from. Now, how is it important from Ayurvedic point of view is, we need raw materials in the form of medicinal plants, where we can locate these raw materials in different parts of this country, so that our products, the quality of the products will be much more higher and apt to the expectation of the user. Along with that, there will be, or other than this app, so we from Ayurveda can also develop regarding different methods of cultivation, more standardized method of cultivation of different plants, so that the people or the agriculturists who are the main domain for cultivation, they can be properly guided, and preservation of these medicinal plants for future use can be possible. So next is the knowledge bank solutions. This is the most important part of this presentation. What is knowledge bank solution? As I've told, knowledge is every word that comes to you in the form of information, whether it is authentic or non-authentic, has to be processed in a proper manner, and such that they can be reproduced in a particular format, so that the end users or the users of that knowledge is more benefited by proper understanding. Presently, we have many things, many like PDF, e-books and different things, all contribute into these knowledge bank solutions. But here particularly, we have two different aspects, two methods of knowledge bank solutions. One is the non-digital, the other one is the digital methods. So what is a non-digital is the physical, what you have like books, then you have e-book, different forms filled by the filled during the field visits, field survey books, field diaries, etc. So these non-digital ones, they are the basic knowledge bank solutions, because all these different books, different herbariums, etc., whatever we have, they form the basis for the next part, that is the digital ones. And what they mainly need is, when these are taken, they are useful in claim support solutions and new formulation solutions. So let us just put a small highlight on that. Is new formulation solutions means, how do you create a new formulation? So when you have a big set of literature that comes, every research starts with a literary research, because research has three important wings, and one is the literary research, followed by experimental, and finally the clinical research. And again, there's another part known as the post-market research. So all these needs, first thing, that is the literary research. We need to understand that a literary research is a most prized one, because it gives out different dimensions for for a particular formulation. It makes us understand the formulation much more better than what we really think of. It saves a great amount of research time for a researcher, because these give a basis as which direction we are heading in, and it gives an idea of how the formulation will be created in due course of time. So a literary research is followed by an experimental research, and again, they are the books that help us, which is again a physical copy or a hard copy, and non-digital it can be. And when it goes into the phytochemical studies, you have, then experimental studies you have, and finally the clinical. All have a huge logs or huge cases of books or write-ups which are necessary for a new drug formulation. And these form the basis for the claim support solutions. So what is a claim support is, after a particular set of studies, we come out with a result of the formulation. As a result of the formulation, like say Guduji is helping in fever, but what is the support? How do I tell that? How do I establish the fact that Guduji is having a action on fever? For that, again, there are literary resources, there are everything. So once they are authentically adjudicated, so that becomes a claim support, which is a supportive to our whatever claims that we have. Then coming to the digital formatting. Now, digital form of knowledge bank solutions is like digitalization of concepts. So where you have different concepts present, and which is again in a very vague manner. So these concepts have to be explained in a very particular manner. If it is spoken to a person belonging to the same faculty, like if I speak about Tridosha to people over here, ladies and gentlemen who are attending this, as most of them, I mean, all are coming under the Ayurvedic fraternity, I don't think so I should explain what is Vata, Pitta and Kapha. It is understood that Tridosha is those three factors. But when it comes to a layman, these concepts will be Greek and Latin to him. So that is why it is necessary to have a authentic knowledge bank solution of this by digitalizing these concepts. So wherein it becomes a standard digitalized concept, such that everyone, irrespective of to which fraternity they belong, these concepts are understood. So what is the benefit of these concepts when they are understood is there will be more of acceptance of this science. More of acceptance means more usage of this science. Then you have literature review and digitalization. That is where the whatever we have in non-digital format is converted into a digital format, like scanning of pages, etc. So these help in a different aspects of like new drug formulations, or again support claims, and again more usage, more acceptability, more confidence, etc. So when we digitalize these different aspects, it is one thing that we need to understand is every information that is being digitalized should be authentic. That is, it should have a very credible source. It should be a credible source of information, such that when it is reproduced, then it should give the same effect that we have already mentioned in this particular uh, solution. Next is digitalization of information regarding medicinal plants. Medicinal plants, as I've told, we have around 20,000 mentioned in India, and around the world it's much more. So these medicinal plants, when it is digitalized, its information becomes a more standard one. And in every aspect, just like how I have mentioned for literature review and digitalization, here also you need authentic source of information. It should be an authentic source. So that is why, even though we do a survey of field survey for different folklore practices or Ayurveda practices, we need to adjudicate through literary references and also through different means of authentication. And then we have to enter them into the information technology, or the formats that we have, what we call as databases. These databases form the basic aspect for the understanding of or digitalization of different information. Then you have information digitalization and processing, again the same thing. So lastly, the claim support solutions. So where these authentic, whatever we have done in knowledge bank, they are used into the authentic as authentic references, then legal validation of claims, etc. Then authentic interpretation of references also can be possible with the database that is produced by different methods. Testing of claims with respect to the products and validation of claims with support documents are different aspects of claim support, or different ways where claim support is being used. So next is, you have different, like as I've told, new formulation solution. You have extensive research, the different uses of these different methods of thing, information technology that when being used. So we have technical support for SOP development. So it gives a technical, because it's a knowledge bank. We have every knowledge that is embedded into the system, and what we need is, we need that support so that it can be, we can have a lesser time duration for going into the literary part and work more on the physical research that can be done. Again, it helps in assurance of quality and testing. Dossier preparations, which is a complete literature aspect regarding a particular formulation or a drug or a medicinal plant, etc. Again, experimental analysis, it can be done, and also it can be compared to the earlier conditions that is there. Clinical analysis and post-market analysis are different ways where the analytics of information technology help to understand the plant, product, or anything. Then we have concepts digitalization, that is, I have told, interpretation of concepts, then different terminologies of concepts can be digitalized, made into a more authentic and standard format so that it is easier for the proper understanding. Then you have literary review and digitalization, as I have told in the earlier part. We have all the available literatures can be digitalized right from Charak Samhita. I think Charak Samhita, everything is available right now, so which can be done. And even ebooks, which is much more easier than a printed format, can also be distributed, produced and distributed to everyone. Digitization regarding contents of literature, certain contents whichever is necessary, especially in the database. When we prepare, we don't need the whole textbook for databases. We need only the part which is necessary for authentication, so that any moment you can produce this particular part, and any moment you can just give that references to the user. So this is a very important aspect that information technology will be producing or will be helping us. Specific contents of the literatures can be highlighted and such that it can be reproduced at any moment of time. Medicinal plant information, general and information for researchers, then cultivators, vendors, manufacturers, and even end users like a common man also can be distributed in a very, in a very most comprehensive manner by the use of information technology. What it happens is, what is the benefit of that? Is it becomes more of acceptability to the public. So information digitization and processing comes with this particular method, like technical information, manufacturing, again, and non-manufacturing. The technical information, like for manufacturing, is formulation details and process, etc. Market details for the manufacturers. Professionals, it includes again formulation details regarding the use, the content, etc. Research details, what are the different researches they have taken undertaken to make this product a most acceptable one. Then non-technical information like procurement details, stock details, etc., which is again more of the business side that it will help. Benefits of information technology. So as I've told, easy accessibility to information. There are thousands of books in Ayurveda, and these books, either they are scattered, they have but every book has enormous amount of information, and many times they are repeated also. So when we are searching for information in a particular thing, say a plant, we need to refer hundreds of books rather, because most of the books, they don't give you every aspect as an user that is required by me. So wherein the accessibility of this information becomes very difficult. So with the help of an information technology, we process all these, or we can process these information. As an Ayurvedic physician, we can provide this information to those who are preparing this digital information, those who are using this technology and preparing a most comprehensive database. As an Ayurvedic physician, we can also give the different references for a particular formulation, which is very much necessary, because most of them, they are not having an idea as which books they have to refer, which books are to be considered as authentic. Even though there are thousands of books, but only 54 books are considered as authentic by Government of India under the Drug and Cosmetic Act. So where these, other than that, there are many books, as I've told. So still they can be taken with confidence only when they are put into a database. So this accessibility of information will be much more easier. Instead of saying 100 books, you just need to open your database and just look into it, search it, and every information is on your fingertips. This is the greatest benefit that an information technology can give. So it saves our time for producing any information regarding a particular plant or a formulation. Then better and common understanding. Now when a particular database is created on the basis of different information that we have with authentic cross references, then the understanding becomes better and becomes very acceptable one, such that we can have a common understanding, a common platform of understanding for the better enhancement of Ayurvedic use. Enhances quality information. As I've told, we need to have everything that is highly authentic and appreciated, such that the information is of high quality, so that there will not be any flaws in the particular information. Then easy distribution of information. So whoever is in need of any information, he can just, or he or she can just get into the database, search for that, and they get the extensive information what they require. It can also, information technology has the ability to segregate the information. While designing, we can segregate the information as per the need of the user. So where the informations will always come only that is necessary for the user. Rest of them, they just get negated. So wherein it becomes easy for him to understand and use. And also distribution, it will be at one click, everyone can look into it, which is much more easier. Then effective use of time. So when all these three or all these four is happening, then we can use our time much more effectively into other purposes of research, and resulting in the final one, that is enhanced performance of the research and results of research. So with that, I think I end my talk. If there is any queries, I think we can just have it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I call Dr. Divya for her vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for this informative and elaborate session. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Now it's time to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the people who have helped in organizing this Dravyamurta webinar. Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. Now it's time to express my heartfelt gratitude to all who have been part of this Dravyamurta webinar. To sum up with 2 days national webinar, Dravyamurta, it was enriched with the knowledge and experience shared by our 4 eminent speakers. Firstly, Dr. Ravi Shankar sir, who spoke on Dravya Guna and its scope in pharmaceutical industry on first day, first session. Thank you, sir, for guiding about various sectors where we can start our profession other than physician and a lecturer. Thank you, sir. Next, Dr. Vinayak Bhatt sir, who spoke on the topic Principles of Drug Action in Ayurveda. It was a elaborate session on karma with all classical references, different way of understanding and approaching karma. Thank you, sir. Next is second day, first session was by Dr. Ajayan Sadanandan sir on the topic Global Understanding of Flora by Ayurvedic Principles. It was completely different way of identification, understanding and usage of drugs on the basis of Panchamahabhuta. Thank you sir for the wonderful knowledge. Next, second day, second session was by Dr. Mahesh T.S. sir on the topic of role of IT in documentation of Ayurvedic principles, where he had shared an elaborate explanation regarding IT, where all we can use IT in this Ayurvedic sector, different way of using information technology, starting from pharmacies, drug discovery, and drug study. Thank you, sir. Now it's time to thank our inaugurator, Dr. Radhakrishna Ramarao, sir, for inaugurating and making sessions open for our viewers in spite of his busy schedule. Thank you, sir. And our guest of honor, Dr. Prasanna Samanur, sir, for addressing the gathering and sparing his valuable time with us. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to thank wholeheartedly our esteemed college, AMV Hubli, who always encouraged, supported and funding us throughout the time. I also thank our President Padma Shri Dr. M.M. Joshi for his blessings. Thank you, sir. I thank our Chairman, Vaidya Dr. G.H. Neregal, sir, for his unconditional support and blessings. Thank you, sir. I thank our beloved principal, backbone of our institution, Dr. A.S. Prashant, sir, for his support, guidance and encouragement throughout the time. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. P.K. Desai, sir, MC member, for sparing his valuable time and making his physical presence for this webinar. It means a lot, sir. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. J.R. Joshi, sir, PG Dean, for his support and guidance throughout the webinar. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. Manjunath Nayak, sir, HOD, Department of Dravyaguna, for his support and encouragement. I also thank Dr. Akshay Cholin for his technical support. I thank Dr. Manjula Karalwad Madam for her guidance and support throughout the webinar. I thank office staff, attenders for their timely help. Last but not the least, I thank all the interns, Dr. Divya, Dr. Seema, Dr. Saujanya, and second year student, Dr. Akshata, final year students, Diksha, Sri Gauri, and all the students and audience who made this webinar successful. Thank you one and all.